Hi, it's Cindy Novotny with the Monday Mentor Moment. I'd like to talk today about the fear of failure because I think a lot of people have, during good times and bad times, have a real fear that they're going to blow it. And of course, I do too. And I get a stomach ache and I'm nervous. I think anybody in the world would say, no, I'm worried I'm not going to do a good job. But there's a difference. I always was taught that if you don't try and you don't kind of put yourself out there, you're never going to know what you could do. And yes, you are going to fail along the way. When I was younger and starting to, apply for jobs, when I didn't know if I was going to take my career into the hospitality industry, I did kind of do a little bit of a short internship with an insurance company for life insurance. It didn't really go that well, but I did, I think like a week trying to figure out just to get through the application process. And it was terrible, and all the numbers you had to learn and all the things you had to read and books. And I mean, it was like, it was not for me. But I was trying to put myself out there to think, maybe I'd be good at that. And at one point, after about 4 days, our instructor gave us this like bingo card that had 250 squares. And he said, so when you begin and you're selling insurance, after you have 250 no's, we will give you $1,000 bonus. Well, I remember running home to my dad going, oh my, this is the job for me. I mean, you just get no's and you get $1,000. And my dad said, that's because it takes about 250 no's before you get to the yes. And you got to fail a lot to get there. That's when I woke up. See, I recognize that you seriously are going to blow it. And you have to pick yourself up and move on. I've read a lot of sports books over the last few months because I have a client that's totally into sports and competition. So he sends me books and I'm reading them and I'm actually enjoying them. And one that I love is on a sport coach. He's a mentalist. He helps some of the best football players. I mean, we're talking pros, baseball players. And he said, the one thing you have to do is remain neutral. He said, think about it. So you, let's say, are a baseball player and you're a pitcher, and the last inning, you absolutely threw terrible. You were terrible, all right? If you sit down on the bench and all you do is think about how terrible it was, how terrible it was, how terrible it was, and you get up again, and when you walk on that mound, you're gonna do another inning of terrible. But same scenario, if you threw terrible, you sat on the bench and go, I'm just really good anyway. I'm just so great. I'm just so great. I know I'm going to do a good job because that's what we always tell people to do. Positive, you can do it. You can do it. That also can be dangerous because then you walk out there kind of full of yourself and boom, doesn't work. He explains that to be really competitive and to be really sharp, you have to go into the neutral zone. Forget about what happened yesterday. Don't worry about tomorrow and just play the game right now. And that's how you don't have to worry about failure. Because forget what happened yesterday in your life. Do not worry about what you're going to do tomorrow. Focus on doing the best you can do today so that you'll be even that much better. Now, the other thing that happens in business is that many of us fail because of other people and other things that affect what we're trying to do. I'm a firm believer in accountability meetings and making sure we have them. We do a lineup every day and we're holding each other accountable. Did you get that? I didn't get that back from you. We do operational meetings from sales to operations. I didn't get that from the sales manager so that the trainer in the field knows what they're doing. Those are accountability meetings. Do not skip those. Because when you skip those, that's when you have failure and then it becomes the blame game. Well, I did my part, you didn't do your part. That doesn't work in teamwork. Data. Many people shy away from data, but data is the information that helps us to succeed. Data from where we actually failed. So looking at the root cause, the systemic problem, what were the issues and what got us there? What did we do here to get us to this point that we actually didn't win? When you look at that data, it helps reset for going forward. But it's not just positive self-talk. You've got to have the data to back that up. One of the biggest areas, I think, that cause people to fail is procrastination. I learned long ago that I swallow the big frog first. Now, it's not that fun. Just imagine 10 frogs lined up. Little, 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 and a big, big toad. Most people go, oh, I'm not going to swallow those frogs. That's so awful. And they start with the little ones, little ones, little ones. Then by the time they get to that big toad, ooh, Not that easy. So if you really want to win, you swallow that big toad first, right? You know, I try to make all my tough calls before noon. I'm a firm believer in that. Don't put that off to the end of the day when you know they'll be out of the office and you leave a voicemail. Hit it head on. It helps reduce the fear of failure. The other one is leave your ego at the door. Like, honestly, I will tell you, and you might think, oh my gosh, don't even say you don't have an ego. You're on all these webinars and all this stuff and YouTube, and you've got these Monday Mentor moments. Okay, stop. Why don't you call the people that work for me? Why don't you call the people that have known me for years and really talk to them? Because I put myself here, and everybody else sometimes put themselves there. I have always positioned myself as the one that's going to work harder and do more. Leave that ego at the door, and then you won't be worried that you're going to fail. You know, triage, when you think about it, some people go crazy over something that is really not that bad. And I like to look at it as the triage effect. Is it really life or death? Is it something that we can just calm down for a moment? If it's life or death, we have to go into triage mode. If it's something that we got to stop for a minute, figure it out, that's what you need to do. We have a very simple process called Fix It in our organization, and we use it. You know, every time there is a big problem, we find that problem and find the cause. Maybe somebody didn't do their part. Nobody's getting beat up on. We recognize, oh, you know what? That should have been done from our Houston office, and it didn't get done. We're finding the cause. Then what we have to do is we have to identify all the barriers that are in our way to actually fix the problem so we don't fail. X is we got to brainstorm examples together of ideas. Now, just so you know, brainstorming is not one person talking. It's not the boss. It's not the loudest person in the room. It's simply all kinds of ideas. Put them up, put them up, put them up. And then we start to dissect it to implement the I, our new plan, so we can terminate the problem. There's going to be problems for the rest of our lives. I don't know any organization, any group, anybody in business that doesn't have problems. But our goal is to methodically go through it and talk through it so that we do not fear that we're going to lose. Fear of failure will absolutely blind your future success. What's the worst thing that can happen? And I ask it of myself all the time. When I'm nervous, when my stomach is spinning, when I can't even get a word out of my mouth, I will say to myself, Cindy, what is the worst thing that could happen? And by the way, it's not triage. So have a great week, and I'll see you next time. And don't forget, go out there and fix it.